And hello, YouTube. Guys, we're live today. I've been doing a lot more of these lives lately, answering your guys' questions. So, yeah, we are going to do that today. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy you guys are here. We're just going to go through and answer some of your guys' questions. So these questions actually get sent into to us. Let's see here. Sorry, one sec. They get sent into us. And let me see. Let me find the some of your questions, okay? So, yeah, I'm not sure that was really a question, so I got one here. Okay, so that one doesn't count. Anyway, guys, pop your questions in the chat as well. I'll be answering them, okay? So I am live right now on YouTube and TikTok. So, here's one. Oh, baby cupcake. Baby cupcakes. My SP dumped me and he said he's bored and wants a new girlfriend. Okay, so you need to change that story. How did you create it? What thoughts have you been having that made this show up in your life? That's very important. Along with creating the intentions that, you know what, he is happy with me. He wants me as his girlfriend. He enjoys spending time with me. He'd rather be with me than anybody else. And, but it's also really important to find out what thoughts you had that created it, because, there's like a lot of ways to create a third party. There's a lot of ways to create, things in your life, and you create those things with your thoughts, and your thoughts are unique to you and your situation. So if you want to find out how you created something, then what you want to do is you want to, dig into your mind. What thoughts were you having that created this in your life? Okay. And so this live stream is going to be about, hey guys, hello. This is going to be about thought transmission and basically shifting parallel realities, because I had a moment this weekend where I did actually shift realities, right? It was over the smallest thing, but I was like, you know what? I'm like, this is totally how it works. So when we focus on something, okay. So for instance, I was trying to find, how like chargers have that little like part that goes in the wall that can unplug from the cord. Okay. So I was traveling this weekend. It was Andrew's birthday, and happy birthday, Andrew. Anyway, so I put the USB into a plug, and then I put the wall socket part into my purse. Now my purse isn't that big, okay, and there's not a lot of stuff in it, and so basically I was like, oh, I don't know where I put, the plug-in part, because I needed it. So I was like, oh, I can't remember if I left it in the car or I put it in my bag or I put it in my purse. I don't know, maybe I lost it. I don't know where it is. So I'm looking everywhere. I looked, and I swear I dumped everything out of my purse. Okay, seriously, dumped it out of my purse 3 times. Okay. I looked in my bag. I looked in the car. I couldn't find it anywhere. And then all of a sudden, you know what? I was like, no, I'm like, I had it. And I know I didn't lose it. I intend to find it. I know I have it somewhere. And so, not kidding you, not one word of a lie, I stick my hand in my purse and I find it. Okay. So it like basically somehow survived not falling out of the purse the 3 times I shook it out. So when I was in the reality of I can't find my charger had to hide from me. Like it had to. It had to be completely out of my mind and out of my sight, right? And, and when I decided that I was going to find it, it had to show up for me. So that's how you shift your reality. You shift into a reality of having what you want by intending you have that in the 4D, bringing your mind to that, right? So it's something we learn in hypnosis. I'm a certified hypnotherapist as well as a neurolinguistic programming practitioner and a certified life coach. So, in hypnotism, we can hypnotize people to see things and to not see things. And that's exactly what I did to myself. I hypnotized myself, got myself in the state where I wasn't going to be able to find that charger piece. And then when I decided I was going to find it, I got into the state and hypnotized myself to see it, because your subconscious mind is going to follow your orders. If you say you can't find something, or you don't have something, your subconscious mind is going to say, your wish is my command, and it's going to take it away for you. If you decide that you have it, your subconscious mind is going to say, your wish is my command. It's going to give it to you. It doesn't judge any of your manifestations or any of your thoughts or any of your wishes. It just follows your orders, right? It's very loyal to you and your thoughts, right? So it's the same thing. And I know you guys have done this, okay? As you're looking for your cell phone, you've lost it, and you're using the flashlight on your cell phone to look for your cell phone in places like under the couch and whatnot, okay? Because you've thought you lost your cell phone. Even though you're holding it, your brain has decided to cut that out for you, because you're living in the reality that you can't find it. So even if you're holding it, I know I'm not the only one that's done that. So that's how we shift realities, right? Like, we decide that we're in a reality where something's going to happen, and everybody in that, in that space, when you're in that headspace and in that state, everybody's going to conspire to make it happen. Okay. If you're in the reality that it's not going to happen, it's not going to work out for you, then everybody's going to be absolutely in your way. That's just the way the universe works, because that's what your brain does for you. Okay. So that's where, everyone is you pushed out and thought transmission comes in, right? When you make a declaration, a statement, or any thought that you have, it's constantly being broadcast out to everybody in your quantum bubble. Okay. Now, guys, I don't claim to be like the best, explainer of, quantum physics and science and whatnot. I try to explain it to you guys in the way that I understand it, and that make it easy for me. Hey, Daniel, guess what? Jerry says hi. So yeah, that's why mental diet is so incredibly important, because the universe, okay, then when I say the universe, everybody out in your quantum bubble, is constantly overhearing your thoughts, constantly. Okay. So, watch what you're thinking, right? Because your thinking is either going to put you in, the reality that you're going to get what you want, or it's going to put you in the reality that you're not going to get what you want. And how do you decide which reality you're in? Well, you listen to how you're thinking, what you're thinking. And if you're not sure what you're thinking, check in with your thoughts, because your thoughts create your emotions. Okay. So if you're like feeling panicked and worried, you're going to have to check in with yourself. What thoughts are making me feel panicked and worried about the situation? Like, for instance, okay, let's say you're manifesting a specific person. Okay. Everyone is you pushed out. So, if you're living from the end of what you want, what does it look like? Okay. So, let's use me for an example. Okay. So I'm married. I have a great relationship. My relationship's amazing. He's my best friend. We get along. He's my lover. He's faithful. He's loyal. And when I think about my relationship right now, I feel good. I feel calm. Like, I feel excited for Andrew to come home tonight. I can't wait to see him. I can't wait to, do our nightly routine that we do. I can't wait to see him tomorrow. Okay. Like, and it's comfort, it's safety. I know, like, when I think about him, there's no anxiety, there's no worry, there's no, apprehension of any sort. There's just excitement for what I'm going to get, like our connection. Like, we have the best time ever just sitting on the couch together. Like, we get each other, we just need to be in the same room breathing together, and we are so happy, and anyway, so that's what, and all my thoughts, right, are, what he wants to be with me, he loves me, and, da, 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 da. So I'm living from the end of being in a happy, great relationship. Now, let's say, for instance, and I don't really want to mess up my relationship, so I'm not going to use my relationship as an example, because thoughts create whether you mean it or not. Let's say that, I want to be in a relationship with Jerry over here, and you know what? I got these thoughts that he doesn't want to be with me, that he, rejects me, that he's got baggage, that he'd rather be alone, that he's a little like player teddy bear, that he wants to just be with a ton of teddy bears, that maybe I'm not good enough for him. Now I'm living from the end of rejection, because, with my relationship with Andrew, I don't have any of those thoughts. I know he's 100% loyal, and anytime I may get insecure and have a thought that may not be in line with, having this relationship that I want, I catch it immediately and I say, no, don't be silly. And I talk to myself logically. Okay. Like logically, does it make sense for him to want to leave me? No, absolutely not. You know what? I'm amazing. Why would he? Right. So that's the difference from which, yeah, no, exactly. Trash in, trash out. Your emotions are a progress report from within. Absolutely. And one thing I'm going to touch on, I didn't really want to touch on this because I don't want to give it power, but at the same time, I don't want to ignore it and resist it. There is, we've had a few people asked to comment on a certain coach bashing channel, or not channel, a forum on the internet. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. They basically want to take down coaches, and basically they asked if any of it's real that they say, and absolutely not. I don't know anyone that would believe a group of coach haters would believe what they say about people is true. They don't say a good thing about anybody on there, not even each other. And basically, it's the same thing there. They're focusing on hate, and they're only going to get more in, right? So like Neville says, focus on what's good and what's great, and focus and spend time with people that bring you up and lift you up, and it breaks my heart that I've created, because everyone's being pushed out. I've created obviously a forum like that, but I feel bad because like if any of those people are in there like reading that negative stuff about coaches, and then they go and try to get coaching, I mean, their story about coaches isn't going to be good either, right? So don't yeah, you nailed it. That's the group, right? You know what? It's just gonna say, like, they watch our videos. That's the, like, honestly, okay, watch our videos. Oh, we hate them. I mean, you know what? I once heard somebody say, look, at if people aren't talking bad about you, you ain't doing it right. I mean, at least we're like famous enough to be talked about. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, I've been on there and I've tried to be like nice, but then they just actually get, and like basically like they said that I bullied Anna. Bully Anna. Me and Anna are in great terms. She was here for years and she wants to do something else. Just because she doesn't share with the world what's next for her doesn't mean it was bad turns, but they have nothing good to say about anybody, right? So I can tell you right now, nobody here is like feeding them information about us. So nothing they say is true, and yeah, anyway. So, but it's unfortunate. So I also have a story, and I'm sorry I created them, but I have a story, that, people that, are negative and basically talk bad about people that are trying to share good in the world, right? Are just struggling and, have a problem themselves. So I intend that everybody on that sub, gets their life together, starts being a positive impact to their community and the world around them, and starts lifting people up instead of tearing them down, and, it gets pretty bad when, they start, basically picking on my looks and my weight. It's like, oh, it's like childhood stuff, right? So whatever. They can talk all they want. But for the people that have emailed in asking if anything they're saying about us is true, absolutely not. And my response to you, if you email in, would be like, ask them where the proof is. If we were bullying Anna, like, where's your proof, right? They can say anything. They're sitting behind a keyboard. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, anyway. So none of it's true. Anyway, enough about that. They're getting no more of my attention, but I'm happy that they, spend the time and watch our videos, right? So I guess any press is good press, right? So let's take a look. Let's take a look. So guys, I'm having my tea. I love it that you guys are helping each other in the chat here. That's so wonderful. I'm really happy because I think, I love that we have this, positive community that helps people and lifts each other up, like, and that's why I love doing this. And I've really come to enjoy doing these lives more lately with my tea in the morning because, it starts my day off right to help people. You know what I mean? Like I also go on Reddit and I, comment on people's posts and stuff and help there because I love doing it. And it makes me feel good to make a positive impact. Okay. So, we're just going to focus on people that like us. The people that don't, they could go bye-bye. Let's take a look here. Okay, so basil tea. I know, guys, hit a like if you love tea. Okay, so this one is Earl Grey, but my ultimate favorite tea is David's tea, cream of Earl Grey. Oh my God, love it. I used to be a coffee drinker, but I've turned into a tea drinker. Can I answer? Yeah, I can answer you. Sorry, I'm getting off topic here. Okay, if we flip a negative thought, it gets flipped in, so it gets flipped in our mind. So they will not act on it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, this is a great question because it fits right into the title of thought transmission. So this one day, okay, I was actually at a clothing store, and this clothing store is known for like sending me I always get sales, and sending me coupons and stuff, right? And anyway, every time I go up there, I'm like, oh, did you guys have any coupons emailed out recently? And she was like, yeah, there was a 25% off one for VIP. I'm like, oh, that's me. So then I was like looking for it in my phone, right? I said, let me just see if I can find it. So I'm looking for it. And then I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, well, she says she can find it. She's like, and then all of a sudden she says, oh, you know what? Maybe I can look it up. And so she's looking through her paper. And then I'm like, no, okay. I'm like, I intend to find it. She may not be able to find it, right? Maybe I need to show the email. And she was like, oh, you know what? I think you need to show the email for this. And I'm like, of course, I just thought that. So then I think, okay, no, I intend she finds it, I intend she recognizes me. She's like, but I recognize you. You're always in here. You are a VIP. So she's like, I found it. Here it is. And then she scans it. So like, as my thoughts were going, she was responding to them. So yeah, you flip your thought, it's going to flip. Okay. So even if it hasn't manifested yet, okay, that's just the way it is, So I remember, it was like, I just did a video on this. Like it wasn't too long ago, me and fried chicken. And I'm sorry for any vegetarians out there. I eat chicken. I used to think that, being a vegan was the way to go and, for manifesting and being a higher vibration. But then I realized that was just a story that I had and, and I'm much happier eating meat. And I'm very sorry. I do love animals and I intend, that everyone's okay with that. And so I'm sorry. But anyway, I'm getting fried chicken and you guys know me and my fried chicken. So they said we wanted like some wings and these jalapeno poppers. They're like, oh, it's going to be like 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, I can wait 10 minutes or 20 minutes. And so I think it was 10 minutes. So we waited like 20 minutes and our order wasn't there yet. And people are coming and going. And I'm thinking, okay, you know what, this is crazy. But I was also intending to get fresh chicken. And so 20 minutes go by and I walked up and I saw like parts of our order up there. So I was like, okay, I think she forgot about us. And so I was like, where's my order? She was like, oh, okay, right. And so then I thought, oh yeah, she totally forgot about us. And I thought to myself, I'm like, I intend she gives us some free chicken because she forgot about us. And just as after I thought that, she was like, oh, you know what? I'll give you 2 extra free pieces of chicken. And the funny thing is just before I walked up there, they basically, all the chicken was gone and they put fresh chicken out. So I got the fresh chicken, got 2 extra pieces of chicken. Like it was great. So yeah, when you flip your thought, okay. So Napoleon Hill in his Think and Grow Rich, he explains this. He says, finish your thought, never leave your thought unfinished. And what he means by that is, if you're having a negative thought, don't stop. Think it out. Bring it all the way back to what you want. Okay. So if you have a negative thought and catch it right away and change it, you're good. And sometimes too, when you have a negative thought and then you change it later, it's okay. It'll cancel the other one out because, when I was sitting on the couch the other day, I was like, should we have fish for dinner or should we have chicken? Fish or chicken? And I was debating back and forth. And I said, Andrew, what do you want? Fish or chicken? I've been debating. He's like, what's funny? He's like, I've been debating too. So I was going back and forth and so was he. Like he is such a great mirror and a reminder for everyone as you pushed out for me. So yeah, if you catch your negative thought and you change it, yes, you block out that negative thought. You're good. So I hope and I intend that answers your question. That was the longest answer in history. I'm tired of fearing my negative thoughts. Yeah, don't. No, don't. They're not bad. They're not bad. Being transmitted. Hence, I get hot and cold. Okay, the fear of your negative thoughts is giving them power. Do not give them power. Okay, how I look at my negative thoughts is, is I look and I say to myself, okay, my negative thought came up because this is what, I had. Okay, thank you, negative thought. And then I change it right away. And I'm not scared of it, because even if it does manifest, it doesn't matter. You can change it that quickly anyway. Like, it's not a big deal, and then you can also create things like, look at, no matter what happens, it always works out in my favor. I've had negative thoughts where, I thought Andrew was going to leave me, and we've had a fight, and he says, well, I'm going to leave you. And then the next minute I'm like, no, I intend he changes his mind. And then he changes his mind. You know what I mean? Don't fear your negative thoughts. They're okay. They're empty and meaningless. If you fear them, you're just giving them power. They don't deserve to get power. Just like that hater group that puts down every coach. I don't fear them. Like, I know that was my negative thought that created. That's fine. If I've created it, I can change it. Not a big deal. Don't be scared of it, because if you're scared of it, you're giving it a bunch of negative emotion, right? And when you give something a negative emotion, you're resisting it. You're keeping it in place. So you know what? It's fine. If you've manifested something you don't like, thank it. No, thank you for being there. And this is what I want to see instead, right? But if you catch your thoughts, say, you know what, I catch my thought and nothing, oh my God, it was Church's chicken. I love Church's chicken. But, catch your negative thought and say, look, and only my positive thoughts manifest, and so, because when we're scared of something, we're giving it attention. Oh, one thing I want to say, I do have my kitchen fan on. I hope you guys don't hear it. I'm making soup from scratch because that's just how I roll. So thoughts don't have free will to manifest on themselves. No. You have free will of what you're going to think. And you're the only one with free will. But no, you can cancel out your thoughts. And not every negative thought or every thought is going to, manifest. I mean, sometimes it's a sum total of thoughts. Like, I've had one-off negative thoughts where, it's just me saying right now, Andrew, doesn't want to be with me and he wants to divorce me. Is that going to manifest? Probably not, because I have so many positive thoughts about my relationship and so many positive beliefs about my relationship that I've already built on. Now, if I keep with that negative thought and I start adding other thoughts to it, to support it, then yeah, I'm tilting the scale that way. Okay. So, don't be scared of your negative thoughts. It's just a wake up call to say, okay, wait, I need to get on my mental diet here. I need to figure out. So no, I intend that Andrew loves me and he's happy to be married to me. And he's going to be married to me till the minute I decide any different. Right? Because you're the one deciding, but I would suggest is maybe doing like, a little list of manifestations, to build your belief in your manifesting. It's the little things, it's the fried chicken, that just, I was like, wow, I'm like unstoppable. Like, I mean, oh my God, Oh, I'm so glad that helped you a lot. Yeah, don't be scared of your thoughts. I know, and thought transmission, and and at first, when I first learned that everybody was listening to my thoughts, I was like, oh my God. I thought there was the one thing that I had to myself was my thoughts. And it was like, nope. And then it was like, I was like, I knew I needed to like get on top of my thoughts, but I was like, no, my negative thoughts are way too precious to me. I'm way too addicted to them. And then it was like, well, wait a minute. You know what? Like, what do I have to lose to try this? I said to myself, I'll try it. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, I can always go back to my negative thoughts. Right. And it worked. Right. So yeah. You guys are absolutely amazing. Oh, thank you. You don't hear anything. Yeah. So, I like to make homemade soup. Andrew likes it. He really, really likes it. So, I like to do that for him. I like veggies raw. Oh my God. I love my raw veggies and dip, like, with some cheese and crackers, girl lunch, right? He don't like girl lunch so much. He needs his veggies cooked. So I've gotten really creative of making cooked veggies. So, okay. Yeah. I want my son to start sleeping in his own bed. How would I go about this? Well, so create the story, I mean, for instance, I remember, I remember somebody was telling me years ago, that they wanted, their young adult or their teenage, child to start showering every day because they were getting to the age where they needed to, but they didn't want to shower every day. They were resisting it. But the the teenager, it was a teenager, was starting to be interested in, in dating, and that sort of thing, right? And I remember the parent saying, well, telling them, well, you know what, like, you're not going to be able to find, a date if you smell bad, right? And so, the teenager was like, oh my God, you know what? Like, yeah, I should probably start showering. I mean, I want to get a girlfriend. So all of a sudden that motivated them because there was a benefit to them, right? So, I know, for instance, there's like, I've heard parents, say many things like, intend that it's the big boy bed and they buy the bed that they like, and they want to sleep in it, like I've seen, kids that like, race cars and they buy the race car beds. But I mean, really it's about creating a story, right? So they have the story that if they bought that nice, race car bed, then the child would want to sleep in the bed, right? So, but you can just start intending, like, look at, my child loves to sleep alone. They love to sleep in their own bed. They want to be, a grown up, kid and sleep in their own bed. That's just really what you've got to start saying, and whatever reasons you think they want to sleep in your bed, then you just need to change those into, the intentions, the affirmations that support them sleeping in their bed, right? So I think that's the most important part there, right? It's really about changing the story. How do you create what you see in your reality? Oh, Daniel, be still and know. Oh my God, I'm so practicing that today. I'm like, yes, be still and know. But it's about how are you creating, So I remember I talked to somebody that created a third party, and I nearly created a third party in my relationship with Andrew when we were dating. And their thoughts and my thoughts on creating the third party were completely different. Okay, their thoughts were they weren't good enough and all these other sort of like, self-concept, self-esteem, self-worth sort of thoughts. And mine was, well, maybe, he wants to be with his ex because they were on and off. And, if she calls, he might answer, because he like, so those are more my thoughts, of course, with a, definitely a dash of maybe I'm not good enough. Right. So how you create what you want, how you create what shows up in your life depends on what thoughts you've had to create it. So, whereas like, a lot of affirmations can be blanket affirmations and work for everybody. Like, my SP wants to be with me. I'm successful. I always get what I want. I'm never scared of failure because I'm always successful, things like that. But then there's always going to be a level of personalized intentions for yourself that come from your actual negative story, right? Oh, thank you. I'm glad I was able to help. Um, yeah, what else, I mean, what else you guys got here? Let's take a look. What else you guys got here? You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Yes, manifest to give you someone. You know what? I manifested cheesecake the other day. My mom brought cheesecake. Everyone is so, guys, I can't tell you enough. Do that little list of manifestations because it's those little things that stop you for a second and go, oh my God. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, this reality is so surreal. Like when, this is what I wanted to say. I did a video and they put this in a video. I think I did, or I stuck it in a Reddit post. Anyway, I'm going to tell you guys now. Anyway, either way. So you know what I like? Oh yeah, I stuck it in a Reddit post. Anyway, what I like, okay, is like, I like to say, I intend to see how I created everything in my life. Okay. So write that down. I intend to see how I created everything in my life. So along with that little list of manifestations, if you affirm that and intend that, what ends up happening is when you think about something, okay, so for instance, okay, now I'm not a big gambler, but I was playing bingo, like quarter bingo or something. Anyway, I wasn't winning and I wanted to know why. Like, what thought did I have to create that? Okay. Now, usually it's not a huge deal, because I was intending like, that I would win or whatever. But then, I wasn't quite, getting it. Like it was weeks and weeks. And I was like, hey, why isn't this working? Well, I intend to know how I created this. And then, and I intend that I always, see how I've manifested anything in my life. I always see what thoughts have created what's showing up in my life. And all of a sudden I was like, well, I intend to figure out why I'm not winning at bingo. All of a sudden the guy down on the table, a few people down, he was talking about something and he says, you know what? And he's like, I don't win at any bingo because he's like, I've got the saying that, gambling cuts into my drinking money. And I'm like, oh my God. I used to say that as a teenager and like in my 20s. I was like, oh my God. I was like that. I was like, oh yeah, that's something I've said. I was so surprised that he said it because that's such a unique thing to say. Like who would say that? I did, obviously, but that's not something everybody says, right? So I was like, oh my God, I have to lose because this is supposed to cut into my drinking money kind of thing, right? So I was like, oh my God. So then I changed it. I said, no, you know what? For the next week, because it was like a once a week thing at the Legion, this bingo thing. So for the next week, I was like, no, you know what? I'm like, I always win at bingo enough to buy a drink and to buy myself dinner. I always win when I gamble. The money I spend gambling, I win more than enough, to pay for drinks and food, right? I can even buy a round for the table, of drinks with the money I win from gambling. Not kidding you. The next week we went to bingo. I won the first round of bingo, and then I won another round of bingo later on in the evening. So, when you find that thought, it's like the whole wall comes down. You know what I mean? Like the whole wall comes down. So so I intend to see how I created whatever showing up. Okay. So then the thought that you had will come somewhere. Okay. It'll either come to you and you'll know it. Like you'll say, how will I know? Oh, you'll know, you'll recognize it. It'll ring true. It'll resonate with you for sure. Just like, Buddy said it and I was like, oh my God, I did that for something else last night. And I had the thought come to me in my head and I was like, oh yeah. And even if you're not sure if that's the thought, you had the thought. So just change the thought. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, because again, everyone is you pushed out, right? Yeah. 3D, 4D. There is no delay, right? The delay that we have is because, you choose there to be, so I wanted to manifest my car. Okay. And my car during COVID. And, I went to one dealership and they were like, oh, sorry, short on parts and, microchips because of COVID, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, okay. So that's fine. So then I was like, no, I intend, they said it would be 6 months. And I was like, no, I intend it come sooner. So why didn't it come instantly? Because I didn't believe a car would like fly out of the sky and drop into my like driveway. Okay. And I intend that never happens. But so then, but I did manifest it like not, and I wanted to move though first before I did get my new car. So like that was September and I wasn't moving until January. So, basically the moment I moved though, like basically like a week later, barely had any furniture in my new house. Boom, the dealership down the road had my car, just got shipped in. So, things will come according to what you're sort of, saying. So you need to clean up the whole story. Now, my car would have been ready sooner had I not said, oh, I don't want to get it until I move into my new place, right? Because the reason is I was going from like a 4-door, sedan with a trunk to like a 2-door sports car with like no trunk, no back seat. And I knew I was moving and I knew I would need the space in the car. So there was no point, I just thought it would be silly to, get a new car before, before we moved, right? So, yeah. Yeah. How come it doesn't work sometimes, even though you're so sure? Sometimes I assume they think a certain way and then they will say a certain thing and they never do, or they say or think differently. Well, sometimes there's old thoughts that are there, old beliefs, or sometimes not everything has been cleaned out, right? Like you need to clean out and shift your whole entire story, right? You can feel sure about it, but being sure about it doesn't change all of your previous thoughts because your subconscious mind isn't manifesting what you're sure of. It's manifesting what you've told it to manifest. Okay. And it doesn't discriminate. You judge and discriminate your manifestations. Okay. So let's say, for instance, okay, I say that, Jerry has got like a really bad opinion about, I don't know, farmers. Okay. But I want him to have a good opinion about farmers and stop complaining about farmers. But I've got such like an elaborate story because I've complained to my friends, my mother, my brother, and everybody, okay, about Jerry and his story about farmers and how silly I think it is. And, I think I've even gone as far as going, Jerry probably complains about that because he doesn't feel like he's good enough. And I've piled all this crap into that story about, Jerry, and it's a loaded story about his complaining about farmers. Now, if I go, I intend that he only talks good about farmers, and I'm sure of this, that's not quite enough, because the universe is not going to, your subconscious mind isn't going to go, she's so sure of it, I better change that whole story for her. No, thoughts are things. They're like Post-it notes. Okay. They're going to stay in play until you recognize them and identify them and change them. Okay. So if something's not changing, even though you're sure it's going to, and you're confident it's going to, you need to go back and change the story. Okay. Because being confident isn't, changing the story about Jerry, because remember, your subconscious mind doesn't judge whether Jerry complaining about farmers is good or bad. It just is following your orders. You put that into play, and that's going to stay into play until you address it. And then all of the story that supports that belief needs to be addressed and changed, or at least 80% of it, right? Because you've created that. He's got all these Post-it notes about this story. You've got to change those. Just changing one and being confident about it isn't quite going to be enough. Okay. Yeah. Oh, Leanne, Richard, accompanied by the birthday bats. I love it. Oh my God, I love it. That's so cute. I love seeing people's like names. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing. So if you create everything, does that include the death of a loved one? Well, yes and no. Okay. Basically, in this world, we have an agreement reality that we are born and that we die. Everybody's born, everybody dies. That's just the agreement reality that we have. Okay. So yes, in a sense, you do manifest death. Now, how do you manifest death? I don't, it's like talking about this. I really don't want to create it in my reality, but that's fine. I will, for the sake of explaining this. I mean, sometimes, you create, someone passing away from really, from a variety of stories, I mean, if you've got the story that, cancer can't be cured, then that's what's going to be, I intend all cancers can be cured and they come to a cure of it. Now, yes, we create death. That's our belief, but really, when you think about it, your consciousness, nobody in your consciousness can live or die because they don't exist to begin with. Okay. So when you look at it from a quantum physics point of view, nothing exists outside of your mind anyway. Everything in your reality is a projection of your subconscious mind. So do they die from your conscious awareness in the 3D? Well, yeah, because you've created that. But can they ever die? No, because they're consciousness and your consciousness. So you actually never really die either. You change form. Energy never dies. It just changes form. Okay. So, so that's what, I say, like, focus on everything good. This is why Neville said it too. Okay. Focus on everything good. You know what? I know I was so addicted to the freaking investigative discovery channel. Like, I'm sorry. And true crime podcasts. Like, oh my God. Okay. I can't. Okay. That's not good for me to focus on. It really isn't, right? Because then I'm creating more of it in my reality. So, focus on, people being good. You know what? So I was talking with somebody about, shingles, and then boom, I ended up getting shingles. Like, oh my God. Okay. Because I was focused on it. Okay. So, don't participate in those conversations, don't be, complaining about stuff. Like, let's start creating it to be the new norm where we all get together and talk about positive things and amazing things and how everybody's healthy and that everybody's happy and how everybody always, supports each other up. Right. And how gas prices are always amazing and how the weather is always great and we love it. you know, so focus on good things. But I mean, can we? Sure. I mean, you can prevent people from dying. You can change the story that people live forever. But I mean, the question is, do you think you can manifest that? You know, me, myself, I mean, I don't care to manifest that. Like, I'm kind of okay with the fact that, you know what, that the agreement reality right now is that we're born and we live a life, and then, you know, we get old, and then, you know, and we pass away. Okay, like, I'm good with it, and this experience is over. Great. Okay, I'll sign up for it. I'll take it. Now, do I want to change that so I live forever? Well, maybe not in this experience. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay with that. But if you want to change that in your reality, I mean, you can definitely go ahead. I mean, and obviously, you know, there, to some degree, we have that thought because there's new technologies and people are living longer. Like, people are living way longer than they did years and years and decades ago. You know what I mean? So, you know, completely up to you, right? Yeah. Yeah, so I'm glad I was able to answer your question. I hope I answered it to the satisfactory of everybody. You know, I know when somebody, you know, I know I've talked to other LOA coaches before, and, you know, and on the team and stuff, and you know, they do inner conversations with people that used to be here and that are no longer here, you know, and time heals all, right? But that's just our agreement reality. You know, I've lost someone, and I think the most important part when you do lose someone in this reality is to, and knowing everyone as you pushed out, is not to blame yourself for it. Okay, like, don't blame yourself for it, and, you know, don't beat yourself up that you created it. Okay, you know what, it is what it is, right? You know, and I think that's really, really important. You know, we can't be so quick to, you know, beat ourselves up because of something negative. It's an agreement reality. The belief is people are born and people die in the 3D. That's all there is to it. Okay. You know, and don't leave yourself in a, you know, in a in a bad state by blaming yourself for it, right? Like, it's happened, because I had someone close to me pass away, and I know I had some thoughts, and I thought I manifested it. And, you know, basically it was like, okay, Amanda, you know what? There was a lot of thoughts there. Okay. They passed away from an illness, and, you know, and there was just a lot of thoughts, you know, and not just about that person, but thoughts in general, you know. And I really, you know, took that time to contemplate, you know, life and death and how we create death. And, you know, it was like, wow, well, I mean, I believe people die. I mean, you know, basically I'm like beating myself up, you know, because everyone's me pushed out, and I have the belief that people die. Well, I mean, yeah, I've always believed that. Like, I don't believe people live forever. So what? Because I've got that belief, and it's kind of like a common, you know, you know, it's like a common belief that we all have, that we're born and we die. Like, I can't fault myself for that, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So, yeah, you guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. Um, yeah. Anyways, guys, I love you guys so much for being here. I thank you so much for everything. You guys are absolutely amazing. Yeah, my tea's cold. I probably got to add water to my soup, and yeah. So, you guys, though, we will see you in the next video. I'm hoping to do these lives a lot more often, so I hope you can join me, bring your questions and that sort of thing. But, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.